Hey guys, Fluency Effects here. In today's video, you will be learning how to make 3D text like this and like this, and also how to turn it into something like this. Only using Cinema 4D and Photoshop. So without any further ado, let's get into it. For this tutorial, I will be using my personal 3D text Lightroom, which you guys can get if you get this video 240 likes. I will put it in the description for free. So I'm just going to open up, and when you open it, the 3D text will already be there. Everything will be there. So you'll have the 3 different textures and 5 different layers: the target, text, warp, and the other lights and camera. So the first thing we're going to do is edit the text, which is probably one of the most basic parts. So all I'm going to do right now is go to text and change it. So it's currently set as fluid, so you can put this as anything. So I'm just going to maybe put example, or wait, I think I'll do hello. Yeah, hello sounds good. So now the next thing we're going to be doing is warping the text. So you've probably heard this term if you use Photoshop. So what this does is it'll like kind of turn the text. So what you want to do is drag it on top of the text layer, and when you see the arrow pointing into the box, let go of it on top of it. So like drag the warp on top of the text and then let go of it when you see the arrow into the box. So you'll notice how the text is like stretched. So that's when you know it's warped. So to actually change how it's warped, you want to go to the tension, which you will see in the objects properties in the warp. So when I'm using warp in my 3D banners or in my 3D text, I probably keep it at between 0 to 20. So 20 is probably my max. So I probably use it between 15 or 10 or 20. So it mostly depends on what font I'm using, or like what's the size of the text. So I think I'm gonna go for 20. Yeah, 20 is good. And the next thing I'm going to do is change the color of the text. So if you click the small like sphere next to the text, you'll open this color properties panel, which is where you can change the color of the texture. So I'm going to go for like a light bluish color, and the bars under it, like the sliders, you can change the darkness and the lightness of the text. So if you haven't already noticed, there are going to be 3 different textures. So there's going to be a glossy texture and a basic texture. So to apply a texture, all you have to do is drag it to the like on top of the blue texture, and like drop it, and it will change. So the blue texture is like a simple texture, but the red one is more glossy. So you can also change the color of the red one. So I'm just going to preview it so you guys can see it. But for this video, I'm going to use the simple one, the blue one. So just drag it back on top of the red one. So the next thing you want to do is add the target. So what this does is it twists the text, which I think you might have seen me doing lots of my banners. So the twist I probably use in all of my banners and 3D text. As you can see in the pugs and in the Zaddy one, I add some twist to the text. So I'm going to leave it at 5. 5 looks good. So after you've added all these different effects, you can move on to the next part, which will be rendering it. So if you want to preview how your text looks like, you can click the first one, which is the first render one, and you can see how your text will look like when you render it. So when you click the one next to it, it will go into a separate panel and render for you. And when you click this button, which is the second button on the top, you will go to the export page. So this is where you export it. So the settings are already there, you don't have to change those. And then that's it. All you have to do is save it, and it's done. For this next part, you will need Photoshop. That's where you're going to edit all the text. So just drag your text into Photoshop and rasterize it, and open up your blending options by right clicking it, or you can double tap the layer. So the first thing we're going to do is add bevel and emboss, and I'm just gonna add some like light. So you don't want to do it too much, too much depth or size, because then if you want to get the wave effect, you have to do it differently. So you don't want to try messing around with the other settings. The only settings I probably would use are the white shadow, the highlight mode, and I just keep that percentage up. Everything else I'll just leave it normal. So now the next thing I'm going to do is add some inner glow. So these are the normal settings I use. I only keep it at linear dodge and like about 30% opacity. I don't like keeping the size too much because then it looks too big and looks too white or like glowy. So this is where I leave it at 20 to 30 opacity. So now the next thing is gradient overlay. So this is like the color overlay on your text. So when you turn it on, it probably look like this. So first you want to select the gradient. I'm going to be using this light blue type gradient, and the layer style you want to select is color. So like it doesn't cover the entire text, and it also adds like a color to your text. So if you want to add satin, you can add it if you want to darken it, but I'm not going to darken it. I'm going to leave it how it is. So it still doesn't like pop. I don't feel like it's looking too good, so I'm going to add some adjustments. So what you want to do is just duplicate it and then click rasterize layer style. So if you don't like it, you can always go back to your first version. So now I'm going to add some vibrance. So, and always clip it to the text layer, to the layer, because this could also take effect on your other layers. So, and what you want to do is just turn your saturation to max. So as you can see, it already looks much better. So the next thing you want to do is add a photo filter. So what this does is it kind of like puts adds a tint of a color or a filter to the text, which also makes it more like bright. And the final step is not a gradient map, but actually a solid gradient. And try to choose the same gradient or a similar gradient to the one in the text. So mine was blue, so I'll go for blue. And you want to change it to the layer style to like somewhere in the light section. So yeah, make sure all your layers are pinned, all your layers are masked onto the text layer. And this actually depends, so sometimes it can look different for different gradients and different colors. But I normally choose it in the overlay section, and I think this one looks good. So I'm just going to turn the opacity down because it's a bit too bright. And yeah, I think that looks good. So now the last thing you can do is add some auto tone and some auto color. So this will like automatically add some more highlights to your text. So now all you want to do is go to your banner, and you can just copy paste it to your banner and adjust it how you like. So I'm just going to move my render a little bit because it's coming over the text. And yeah, there we go. That's how you make 3D text using Cinema4D and Photoshop. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. I will be doing a next part really soon where I'll be going over how to add cool effects and using GFX packs in Photoshop, so make sure you stay tuned for that. So anyways guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Bye.